Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of The Look Forward. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Brad.
It feels like so long since we've gotten to do this. So much has happened that we haven't gotten to talk about. Chris Christie's back and totally not supporting Donald Trump until he definitely starts supporting Donald Trump again.
100%.
Barry Weiss opened an unaccredited online university, which is very exciting for everybody.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, I saw a Twitter account say, "I can't wait till they introduce the Henry Ford curriculum for Jewish studies. Like that'll be fantastic one day."
God damn it! Yeah, I saw a bunch of stuff about that, and I was just like, "Dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Stop, please."
I guess she's not making enough money on Substack that she has to open a fraudulent college. So that's cool.
The next Trump University. So yeah, there is a lot going on. Sorry we were out last week. We couldn't align our schedules, and I was out of town. Brad, you were sick. Brad had COVID 35 because he's ahead of the curve. He doesn't fuck around with the 19 stuff. That's just not who he is.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're back. So I don't want to dive too much into the stuff we missed because sadly this shit train keeps moving forward.
No, it can't stop, won't stop. Not ever.
No, sadly. So let's jump right into it. Joe Biden had a real infrastructure week. Turns out.
Yeah.
Many promised, but Joe delivered. Getting his $1.2 trillion infrastructure plan passed. With bipartisan support. And I say that with an asterisk because he has bipartisan support as far as the votes, but boy, does he have a ton of bipartisan support from local governors who are taking credit for all of the shit that's going to get done in their state and never mentioning that they got this money from the infrastructure bill that they 100% did not support. But not boots
only
on the ground, massive bipartisan support.
to have read Governor Larry Hogan's statement after the bill was signed, or after the bill was passed, actually out of the Senate. You'd think that Larry Hogan was the reason that we had an infrastructure bill to read the statement that he put out. There was already one Republican representative who was basically patting himself on the back for the highway project that he's been trying to get done in his district since he's been in Congress, thanks to the bill that he didn't vote for being passed through. That's always really fun. Like I said, I said it online. I'll say it again. Infrastructure Week is dead. Long live Infrastructure Week, because we did not get the Build Back Better plan voted on as we were promised.
No, we did not. Look, I think this is an accomplishment. I do think you have to put an asterisk on it, obviously. I'm glad they got something done. And I feel like this is going to be a large part of Biden's legacy, is that these big ideas that he had, not that he didn't have the wherewithal to get them done, but because of the circumstances were so shitty, that he can't get them fully passed. So you get these like lesser versions, right?
And that is the thing, is that this bill is the largest like single bill investment in infrastructure in this country's history. Like getting lost in everything else around it is that fact. Like there has never been a bill that's been infrastructure focused that has been this much money put toward it. There hasn't ever been a single bill that's put this much money towards climate change in the country before. And it's pretty much fully paid for, which is also a remarkable achievement as well. That I don't think is getting enough credit.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. Look, it's like I don't have a ton to say about it, only from the perspective of we're getting something. We're not getting what exactly we wanted. What would actually like thoroughly help this country actually get back to like get its feet back on the ground and stuff like that. but it is some steps in the right direction. What's ironic is Republicans have been like talking out of both sides of their neck, which is unsurprising. But it's like the infrastructure bill under Trump needed to be passed. We needed to save this country, yada, yada, the fences and all this other shit. We're going to do it, infrastructure week all the time, which just became code word for, oh shit, we have a scandal. Let's just call this week infrastructure week so we can just get the news off our back. I mean, we had no less than, I don't know, 50 infrastructure weeks. I mean, it was insane, right?
I mean, how many weeks was Trump president? He was president for 208 weeks. We had 208 consecutive infrastructure weeks.
Right? I mean, that's what it
while
was.
Trump was president.
Like, it was just nuts. Like him in a truck, like, look at me. Just stop paying attention to these massive scandals. So it's interesting that Republicans like fought so hard, in quotes, tooth and nail about trying to convince people that infrastructure was so important that Trump was going to pass this. And then when Biden actually gets it done, then it's socialism. It's bullshit. Like none of it matters. But then they go back to the States and they're like, it totally matters. And like, don't tell anybody we didn't vote for this.
Yeah,
but like, this is the greatest thing ever. Right.
Doesn't matter except for this bridge that we're building or repairing that we couldn't do before.
Right.
And look, in our town.
Right. And I don't expect the average American to understand or not even understand, to be aware that this passed and Republicans didn't vote for it largely, but then are taking credit for these projects. I'm not shocked at that, right? Like I've seen a lot of stuff about, well, Democrats need to get out there and message more. It's hard to message to people who aren't watching. Right, like there's just not a way to get to them. Like I know people have this idea of like, if the Democrats just yell more, people will listen to them. People aren't even listening to anyone. They're just they just hear, like it just kind of permeates through 9 different layers of bullshit. And then someone goes, hey, do you know Governor so-and-so got that bridge built? And they go, that's awesome. That's all they hear. They don't hear anything above it. It's not hard to find out where they got the $100 million from. Like, it's not difficult. It's rather easy, but it's not a messaging problem. It's actually a citizen problem, right? Like citizens don't pay attention to a lot of shit. They just don't. And look, even we're guilty of it. You can't pay attention to everything. And especially if you're trying to like put food on the table and do all these other things, people have other priorities, right? We're fucking political junkies. So our priority is this, in a lot of ways, but the average person doesn't do that. So, I'm annoyed. Again, I'm annoyed by the circumstance, but I'm not surprised. Like, it's just not, infrastructure is just not one of those things where you can just be like, this got passed, and you saw this like grand national thing that happened. Because the money gets spread out across 50 states and territories, and then all of those local, fiefdoms get to decide how that's being used to some extent. So, yeah. There was no avoidance of this. This is why the Republicans, they only sent a couple of sacrificial lambs to back it, because they needed it passed so that they could benefit from it, and they know people aren't going to pay attention. But that's not a Democrat problem. It's not a Democratic Party problem. That's a you as a voter problem. Like, you get snookered by this because you don't pay attention.
Well, and also to me, like, it is illustrative of the Republican Party. Like, they truly are. It is beneficial to them with their voters to not actually do anything for their voters. For fuck's sake, like the 10 Republicans that voted for the bill in the House and the 19 senators who voted for it in the Senate, a lot of them are getting harassed. They're getting death threats now because they voted on infrastructure legislation.
Right. I mean,
just because they cooperated.
Right. I mean, Mitch McConnell voted for it. Which is crazy, right? But it just goes to show you he knew McConnell is a lot of things. Dumb is not one of them. Right? Craven, yes. An asshole, definitely. Linked up with Chinese cocaine money, absolutely. I'll call him Cocaine Mitch for a reason. But he's not stupid, and they needed this passed so that they could actually help people, but they can't do it because they are not in step enough to get it done when they are in power. Also, they don't write legislation. They're like, that's hard. Fuck that. Let the nerds over in the Democratic Party write this shit up. We'll take advantage, and then we'll pretend like we never heard of it.
Either that, or they would have wrote some infrastructure bill that's like, oh, and by the way, we're also cutting, $1 trillion worth of taxes for the top 1%, and then Democrats would have voted it down, and they're like, see, Democrats don't want infrastructure either. Like, no, like they don't want massive rich people tax cuts. Like Republicans would have written an infrastructure bill that was basically paid for by like the poorest people, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it would have just been a handout to major, companies that do this kind of work, right? Like one of the things that is the most surprising part of the Trump administration is that one massive company didn't get like a no bid contract to build the fence across the United States. Like that shows the massive incompetence of that administration. That like if this was a Bush Cheney thing, Halliburton would have gotten all of that money and they would have done that project and charged through the fucking roof, and it wouldn't have worked, right? Like that's how you skim the money off the top, Lebowski. Like that's what you do. Trump is just like I don't know. Like, show me a couple of fancy fences. We building one of them? I don't know. Who gives a fuck? And then he gets bored with it. So, like, we're lucky that he was as incompetent as he was, because that would have been like $1 trillion given to some rando fucking company that would have done a shit job. Because we don't need a fence across the bottom of the United States. That's stupid. I mean, look at interviews with him. He'll tell you, we'll build a 50-foot wall. There's no way to get over it. Well, unless you have a 51-foot rope. Yeah, that's how you would get over. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you can't build a wall high enough. Like, you can't. They'll just tunnel under it.
Well, I mean, but he was also disinterested in the normal run-of-the-mill shit. Like, he didn't give a fuck about, building infrastructure for families in rural America. Like that, he wanted something to be able to put his name on. Like, that's literally all he wanted. He wanted a giant structure. Yeah. That he could just slap Trump on and call it a day.
Right. I could see him like, I'm building like Trump land, right? It would just look like, like Biff's fucking shitty building and, Back to the Future, right? Like he would have that's what he would have done. Like just like a bunch of shitty condominiums like that he would have sold to people in the Midwest because they would have been all about it, right? Or in the South, where all his voters are. And it would have just been like Trump land, and they'd be like, oh, it's amazing. And it would have been a piece of shit, but they would never complain about it because that would seem weak and not supportive of Trump. Like, I'm actually surprised as I say this that he didn't do that. like gold mine, dude. It would have been a gold mine. Are you kidding me? So yeah, look, infrastructure bill got passed. That's great. It ain't the end all be all of things. However, it is a big deal. I know some people are like, this means nothing. That's bullshit. Don't let people snowball you on that. And it is not the end all be all as like, this is a perfect bill and this is Build Back Better. It's not. Like, nuance, everybody. Nuance. Like, come on. Somewhere in the middle.
Speaking of nuance, neoprogs, my gaze is cast in your direction once again as well.
Have you seen Squid Game?
All of the
Have you watched Squid Game?
Actually, no, I can't. No, I have not watched Squid Game. Actually, I can't really blame the neoprogs for this. I have to blame regular old liberals for this one. Okay. So let me put my rose crown on firmly for this segment.
I'm gonna buy
just because that progressives in the squad did not vote for the infrastructure bill does not mean that they need to be scorned and that the infrastructure bill wasn't going to pass. The fact that they were allowed to not vote on it was carefully orchestrated, and Nancy Pelosi would not have let them do it if they didn't have the votes from the Republicans to make sure that the bill got passed. Hello. It's a tactic that happens all the fucking time. And it was a fair tactic to make a statement that they wanted to make, saying, hey, you told us that we'd get to vote for this other bill at the same time, and now you're pulling the rug out from under us, so we're not throwing our support behind this one in a floor vote, even though we understand that it's a big deal that this is happening. It's performative, but it is something that happens all the time.
I feel like people think, and this goes back to a sort of a fundamental with AOC and the squad when they first got into Congress. And Pelosi, right? Like when they were butting heads initially. And it was a thing that I made a point about And turns out I was 100% correct. And not just me. You and Andy did the same thing, right? Which is they would benefit from working together in being strategic. And what you're seeing, as Brad pointed out, that's exactly what they're doing. Instead of fighting in public and being like, fuck you, like that's dumb. That makes no sense. You're on the same team. Back channel, dude. Just be like, look, you got enough votes? You good? Cool. I'm not going to vote for this. And my crew's not going to vote for this because we wanted X, Y, and Z. Look, I get it. No problem. No harm, no foul. We got plenty of votes. We're well over the number that we need. You guys do your thing. You got to keep your bona fides, right? Like they have to. They can't come off as like not being as progressive as humanly possible because that's where they've put their line in the sand, right? That's where they put their stake. Yeah, that's what politics is. It's about compromise and moving and shaking and figuring out how to best serve your people and your team and still get things done. AOC and the squad 100% understand that, right? You think they're like, oh, see, Pelosi doesn't want... No, dude. No. If you think they're not talking, you're insane. They're not making that move and tanking a $1.2 trillion bill like... I hope they got enough votes. We'll find out on Tuesday. That's not how that works. Pelosi doesn't bring anything to the floor she can't pass.
Not at all. If 0 Republicans were going to vote for that bill, they absolutely would have voted for it. And they would have yelled and screamed about the Build Back Better bill not being introduced.
Yep.
But they would not, like you said, they weren't going to be the reason that the infrastructure bill died. Because they negotiated to get the parameters that they wanted in the bill in the first place.
Right. And look, this is, this kind of stuff, this like lack of nuance or understanding of how like that political reality works. Someone will bring this up later on when AOC runs for re-election or one of the squad runs for re-election. Well, they didn't even vote for the infrastructure bill. Yeah, that was the point. They weren't supposed to because they were trying to keep their hardcore progressive line. When the time comes that they can get stuff that they want, and stuff that the other Democrats want, and they need, and the rest of the Democrats need AOC in the squad. Guess what? They get them. But if you got enough votes, and that shit isn't good enough for us, we're not going to vote for your shit. It's fine. Same thing happens with Bernie in the Senate. It's not happenstance. Like Bernie will never vote against something that will tank an entire bill the Democrats put up. If it's a good bill, like good versus the perfect, he will like you can look through his entire history. He would never do that. But when it comes down, it's like, yo, it's 50-50, Bernie. We need your fucking vote here. I know it ain't perfect. You can get out on CNN and bitch and complain tomorrow. That's fine, but we need to, we got to help 85% of people. Bernie's never going to go, nah, fuck those 85% of people. But like his supporters think that he should, which is crazy.
Yeah, he gets to make his statement votes like when it's like 82-17, like he'll be one of the 17 just to be able to say some dumb, toe whatever line that he wants to toe. But like you said, he's not going to be the reason that an imperfect bill doesn't make it past the Senate. No,
never. And again, people hold that against him on certain things, but you have to look at the context of when that bill, what was the final bill numbers, right? Because if it was like razor thin and like the Democrats lost the bill because of him, okay, that's fair, right? If it was something that was like really worthwhile and could have helped people. But I would venture to say you can't find one. This is not how he votes. But it's a political maneuver, right? It helps him to keep, he's got, just like conservative Democrats have their people that they got to like, keep pleasing. Bernie's got his people he's got to keep pleasing too, right? And then there's people who are in the middle that can kind of go either way depending on where they are, right? You're in a purple state or you're in a very, very blue state or a very, very red state. You do different things. It's okay. So, no, I'm not mad at the squad for not voting for this because it didn't fucking matter. And they all, like, that's the plan. Again, nuance in politics is sadly dead. You know who isn't dead? Beto O'Rourke. Who knew? Turns out he's still alive. Politically still alive. Beto O'Rourke announces, this is the second worst kept secret going right now. The other one is the general plot of the new Spider-Man movie. But this one, whether or not Beto was going to run for governor of Texas, it turns out he is. No shit. Is this going to work?
You're gonna have to forgive me for not being super excited about the third statewide election that Beto O'Rourke is running in the last 3 election cycles that he's probably going to lose just barely. And like, like everyone made a big fucking deal about this, and I get it. And he's definitely the biggest like Democratic hopeful that you're gonna be able to run against Greg Abbott or whoever ends up winning the Republican nomination if it's not him to possibly get out there. But don't walk into this thing thinking that like, oh, Beto's got it. Like we're going to find that, those 3% of voters in Texas that we need just to get over the hump to switch sides. Like it's going to end the same way it always fucking ends for Beto O'Rourke, unfortunately. Like that's just the reality of the situation.
Yeah, you picked a shit state, bro.
You did. You picked a state that is right on the cusp, but it's not quite there yet, as we learned in 2020 when Texas went for what, like 3 points for Trump or 4 points, something like that. Like it wasn't close. It wasn't razor thin. It wasn't as close as the O'Rourke Cruz election in 2018.
Yeah, that wasn't
that fine of a margin. So, yeah.
Look, the only way I can see this, I'll be honest. There's only one way I see this going Beto's way, is if Matthew McConaughey runs as an independent. I'm serious.
I don't think that would help him. I think it would help. I think it would help the Republican.
You think so? Nah, yo.
What Republican's going to vote for Matthew McConaughey?
I think some of them would. He's a radical he's a radical centrist, as he says. He's mealy mouth about a lot of things. I don't think Democrats are going to go for that shit. I don't think that hurts Beto so much.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. There are a lot of dumb fucking Democrats who are like, he's a celebrity. I liked Interstellar. Like, fuck. Come on, man. Don't do that. Like, I also like Interstellar. It's fine. I like The Reconnaissance. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's enough that it could fuck up some. What it could do, maybe he doesn't pull Republicans, but he could pull some independents that might have broken for Abbott. And that might be enough. It also depends on like that race might, with a celebrity in it, might just get more people voting. Right?
True.
So I don't know. I think McConaughey could be a factor. I don't think he's gonna win. The fuck, if he won, I nuke Texas. Just nuke it tomorrow. Like as far as I'm concerned, what a waste. Sorry, Texas citizens. But I think he could be a factor one way or the other, and it would be interesting to see if he could just like draw more people out to be like, hell yeah, I'm gonna vote for Matthew McConaughey, or like, what the fuck are we doing? Either way. More people voting is better for Democrats, but it remains to be seen. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. And look, Greg Abbott might lose his primary. I mean, he's pretty fucking vulnerable right now.
From his lieutenant governor.
Dude, the call is coming from inside the house. Right.
It's true. Now, like I said, I really don't think it's gonna be that exciting. I think Beto will walk to the Democratic nomination. I really don't think McConaughey will get involved. Like I truly don't.
You think he's not going to run?
I think it's posturing. Honestly, okay. Like I think it's just testing the waters, and I don't like because again, what real tangible benefit would Matthew McConaughey achieve? It would be it's like the same argument that we make for The Rock running for Congress. Like Matthew McConaughey still making money being in movies. Like, are you going to just stop making money to be the governor? Like, come on. Like that's idiotic.
Yeah, I don't understand, like, The Rock, you gotta stop making movies? Like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah, like you're gonna hurt your marketability, you're gonna alienate, like, a significant percentage of your fan base just for some vanity run to be a politician? Like, okay. Like,
and then get destroyed? Like, likely?
Yeah, like, do that shit when you're done making movies. That politics will always be there. It's not going anywhere. You don't need to do it when you're, in your late 40s or early 50s. I don't know how old Matthew McConaughey is, but no, I don't think he's going to be in the race. Beto will get the nomination. He's going to lose 52 to 47 and, whatever. It's same story over again. It is what it is. Like, it's hard to be a fucking Democrat winning a statewide election in Texas. It just is.
Is Matthew McConaughey, is Beto O'Rourke going to move states so that he can win a statewide election? He's going to move to
just start carpetbagging it.
Yeah, move to Washington State. People love.
Nah, he'd go to California. He'd fit in there. Still big Latino population.
Oh,
he still going Beto. People understand what it says. Dianne Feinstein's going to die at some point, right? Like Republicans are already, putting their hands together, waiting for her to kick it.
Yeah, she's 1,000 years old. Like, please go sit down. I'm gonna run again. Fuck. Come on. Why? Yeah. So
she hates all of us. That's why.
It's clear. It's very clear. All right. Well, run, Beto. Run. Get your skateboard. Head on over to Whataburger and do something worth a damn.
Yeah.
Next up, this fucking guy. Paul Gosar. I believe you have
Gosar the Gosarian. So.
Thank you. Representative Gosar the Gosarian has been censured in Congress over an anime video depicting him killing AOC. This guy is a first-rate asshole. Like, we know this because his entire family was like, no, fuck that guy. Fuck our brother. He's awful. But he retweets this anime video of him killing AOC. And he's just like, oh, isn't that fucking hip and cool? Like, no, dude, that's not cool. Like, you're in Congress. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Then this fucktard, I'm allowed to say that. It was on Veep. This fucktard, on the first episode, tried to blame his staff. Dude, be a man. Be a man. If you retweeted the shit, just say you retweeted the shit. Like, just come right out, right? Don't pull a Ted Cruz. Oh, someone in my staff must have favorited that porn. No, they didn't. You did.
It was my daughter's fault that I had to go to Cancun.
Right. My kids, they made me go. Really, really. Okay, they got sad. Shut up. They said Cancun, did they specifically? Weird. So yeah, this guy. This guy's a real piece of shit. Real piece of shit.
To underscore that, so they have the vote to censure him today, which passes exclusively with Democratic votes, except for 2 Republicans, and you could probably guess who the 2 Republicans were.
Liz Cheney and Adam Kissinger.
Yep. And it removed him from all of his committee assignments that he's on, which is good. Do you know what he did after the censure vote was passed and decided?
No, I don't.
He retweeted the tweet again.
Wow, dude! Wow, what a dick! What a dick! What a dick! Look, part of me respects the pettiness of that. Like, it does. Like, I can't help it. Like if I'm gonna go down, you got to go down guns blazing. That being said, that's a dick move because you're threatening the life of a congresswoman who has had her life threatened quite a lot because she believes in like we should all treat each other equally and like maybe don't light the earth on fire. Like, I don't understand that. Like, I can understand like politically not liking AOC because you disagree with her politics. I can't understand like I want to kill her. Like, that's crazy to me. Like,
well, and it also goes to show you like how. I mean, so they don't actually believe that she wields the influence that she believes. Like, she's part of a, small caucus in the Democratic Party. Like she, like the progressive movement is growing, but it's not. It's part of, you need them to get on board, but they're not like guiding the fucking ledger through here. But again,
by the way,
she's the
you
easiest
say
person
committee,
to-
they say cabal. But go ahead. Continue.
but it just goes to show you that they're the easiest targets for Republicans to attack. Like it works in their favor to lump the rest of the party in with the progressive wing of the caucus, because
Yep.
you know that's how you get to somehow Joe Biden is socialist, which is the weirdest.
Joe
fucking
Biden
thing.
is the most liberal senator in American history. What? Is he? Are you sure? Bernie's like, am I a joke to you? Get the fuck out of here.
No, but Paul Gosar is a fucking useless politician. Equally
Yes.
useless politician. We weren't here for Cave Woman Taylor Greene. Literally saying in an interview that she doesn't want anything to do with politics.
What the fuck?
To which I have to I feel like I need to let her know you might want to find a different job.
Yeah. Go. Beat it. What the
Yeah.
fuck? What are you waiting on? What are you waiting on? You can leave today. Like,
Yeah.
you can just get out front of the White House or the Capitol and just be like, do your fucking Nixon shit and bounce. Like, we will find a replacement. There is definitely a dumbass woman at a CrossFit studio that we can put in your place at any time. I assure you.
Yeah.
Who's definitely on PEDS. So explains the jawline, dude. Just saying, science. Checker traps. Anyway, like, look, that's how you know. Yeah, from a vote of 223 to 207, he gets removed. Gosar, the Gosarian, gets removed from his committees. Look, isn't he the second? Isn't Marjorie Taylor Greene committee-less as well?
She is also committee-less, yes.
Right, yeah, because she was just like, I don't know, are Jews, should we respect them as people? And they were like, all right, you got to take it easy, nutbag. So that's two Republicans with no ability to do shit all day. Why would the Republican Party support them anymore? Except for they are bomb throwers and they just piss people off, and that's the only reason they're there. Because if I'm the Republican Party, like the establishment, I'm like, okay, that's cool. You're done, right? When the election time comes, we're not backing you two morons because we need people on committees. We've lost two committee seats.
Can't do that though, because they're part of the fucking Trump cabal. And,
I know.
And if you were to turn on them, then all of a sudden, then now you have Trump yelling about you.
That's true.
So
I have a fantasy question. This will not be this is the first, but this will now be the last on this episode. I have a very serious one actually coming up. Fantasy question: who's your next draft pick for losing their committee seats? I'm going your girl.
it's got to be. Well, I mean, she was on the floor today talking about some wild shit about Ilhan Omar today. That was fucking pretty crazy.
Yo, I'm telling you, she gone, yo. Your girl Bobert is done. Like, she's not gonna have. There's no way
she literally said that Ilhan Omar was part of the quote jihad squad on the floor of Congress today.
Wow, dude, come on. Yo, brazen, yo. They're brazen.
Yeah, they're brazen. That's not my pick though. My pick is actually Matt Gaetz. Dude's has to have charges or something coming on him at some point.
I mean, look, even Mark Meadows was like, look, if that indictment comes down, he gotta go. Like, yo, come on, yo, just for pedophilia, you gotta go. Come on, knock it off.
And yet Kevin McCarthy will do nothing. Like, he will still put it on the
excuse me,
Democrats'
not Mark Meadows,
plate.
Kevin McCarthy. I apologize.
Yeah.
Sorry, two fucking white bread, spineless pricks. Sorry, I mixed them up. My bad.
They look kind of the same.
They
I don't blame you at all.
Yes, Kevin Matthews and Mark McCarthy, like, whatever, same guy. Yeah, look, I think that's a pretty good guess. I feel like your girl gonna fuck up and say something wild. Yo, the jihad squad.
She already did. She just lobbed out of the floor as it is.
Like, at a certain point, we're gonna lose like 20 senators committee seats. Like, what are you doing? Like, you can't just say any fucking thing you want or retweet like Attack on Titan videos. Like, what are you doing? Like,
but
these motherfuckers are saying, let's go Brandon on the House of the Floor. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. But that's the only reason that they exist. Like, they're not there to legislate. They're just there. Like we literally have people in Congress that people elected to just troll on the floor of the fucking House. Like, that's literally all they're there for. They're not there to do anything but troll.
Yeah.
It's wild to me that exists. It's wilder to me that the voters in their districts are just like, yeah, this is great. This is how we want to be represented. Because again, fair or not, and I think it's totally fair. I just assume that pretty much her district, like I just impart that entire personality, like on Marjorie Taylor Greene's district, that she is onto all those voters.
And that's not fair, because there's that one video that guy was like, I fucking hate Marjorie Taylor Greene. He goes on this massive rant, and I'm just like, I get it, dude. I get it. I would hate.
Yeah, I get it, but fucking do better. What do you want me to tell you? Like, I get.
She literally ran unopposed. She literally ran.
Yeah,
unopposed.
like you're the one fucking blue voice in that whole fucking district that is crying in their cornflakes about this shit. Cool. Whip up run for office yourself. Do better, because I can assure you that thanks to her and assholes like Brian Kemp and all these other people, Georgia's not a state that I care to set foot in pretty much ever. Like, even though they just gave us 2 senators, I'm just like, I'm good not going to Georgia for as long as I can possibly muster.
Have you ever been there?
I have been to Georgia, actually.
Yeah. That's a nice state.
Atlanta's cool. I like it.
When you go to Atlanta, that's all I was gonna say. Like,
yeah.
Atlanta's awesome.
Jay and Payne, like I'm sitting here trying to plan an F1 journey. Like now that America's getting 2 races starting next year, and I'm just like, oh, which race do I want to go to? I want to go to an F1 race. But to do that, I have to choose between, do I want to patronize the state of Texas or the state of Florida? like it's a fucking
dude, but it's Miami.
Sophie's choice.
But it's Miami, dude. Like,
and it's Austin. It's Miami and Austin.
Oh,
like,
fucking come on! God damn it! Dude, when Formula One put out that video of them driving in Miami, I was like, I kind of want to go. Like, I really want to go. God damn it, that looks like fun, man. I got to finish that new season of Drive to Survive.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you know what? Tomorrow, I'm gonna get back into that. I watched like the first 4 episodes or something. So good.
Next season's gonna be fucking wild, by the way.
They were racing somewhere. Where was I watching? I was in a fucking rest stop in New Jersey. And the race was on, man. I was like, man, Verstappen was like fucking crushing it. It was ridiculous. Anyway,
dude, the title race is insane this year. We're getting off track.
Sorry, that's for the second hour.
Dead Pixels?
Yeah, like what are we doing? Yeah, like Dead Pixels like covers wrestling as well as video games. We look forward might have to cover Formula One as well. Like that might be our offshoot. Like, oh shit, son. So all right, Gosar the Gosarian censured in Congress, losing his committee seats. Great, that's 2 down. More to go. I don't know when that number stops. I honestly don't.
Couple hundred to go.
206 more to go, or 204 more to go. Like, look, here's the thing. The more lunatics you put into Congress, the more this is going to happen, right?
Yeah.
If Democrats can hold the House, and like legitimately hold the House away from Republicans, you're going to see a lot more of these lunatics get in, and you're going to see a lot more of them get censured. Like, it's just reality. And like, they're not censoring people for bullshit like the Republicans definitely would. Like AOC says, Republicans are a cult, and she'd be like, they need to censure her. Like, no, like, you say whatever you want about shit like that. You can't advocate for murdering another congressperson. I don't give a fuck what side you're on. That shit's unacceptable. Like, Republicans are like, oh, what Gosar did was fine, but yet they had a problem with what Kathy, what's her face? Kathy Griffin did with Trump with the like fake bloody mask or whatever.
Fuck Kathy Griffin. They have a problem with Big Bird. Like they're getting
that's right.
Fucking,
we didn't talk about
fucking
that.
Sesame Street.
Well, Big Bird got censored. Yo, they were literally arguing that a giant Muppet got fucking vaccinated. They're like, this is how could they possibly do this? Big Bird is a perpetual 6-year-old child. Like, do people know that? Like, Big Bird's not an adult. Like, he's just like Big Bird.
You're indoctrinating children. Like Big Bird's been getting vaccines since the 70s, my dude. Like where you been at?
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't have a problem with any of that. Yeah, well, that was different. Why? Well, I'm not of an age to just believe bullshit, so yeah, I just supported it. Like, okay, cool. Yeah, like
By the
this is
way,
not anything new.
if the Republicans do swing the House back in their favor, I'm really not looking forward to the inevitable retaliatory censures that we're going to be getting
Oh,
over the first couple of
100%.
weeks.
100%.
Yeah, like that. Like that's going to be
100%.
fucking awful. So
Right. And they'll censure them for nothing, for nonsense.
Right.
We're censoring them because you don't, like, we're going to, and they'll go after people like AOC, of course, right?
Yeah.
We'll censure AOC because she, she doesn't believe in America or some fucking wackadoodle shit, right? And, the person who lead the charge is fucking, what's his face? Tad Cadworth, right? Because he was like, I'll go after any Republican who votes for the infrastructure bill. You don't have any fucking power.
No. He said he was going to primary any Republican that whenever the infrastructure bill, which again, does Tad Cadworth understand how elections work?
No, he doesn't. So yeah, like getting, those guys think that they think that they're quote unquote very clever and they'll have some like amazing thought process on it. But no, I think it's just going to be a bunch of bullshit. I think it will be, but yeah, this is why Democrats need to hold at least the House. I don't know that they'll hold the Senate, but they need to hold at least the House. And they should be able to. I don't think the House is definitely Republicans are going to take that. I don't think that's definite at all.
It's not definite, but it's just history would suggest that they will. So
yeah, but look, history would have suggested that we would have lost New Jersey too. We didn't. So we don't have to lose these things. We can actually win them if we actually fight for it. And that's what I would like to see. All right, let's get into the big boy shit. Gin-soaked racist Steve Bannon surrenders after indictment on charges of contempt of Congress. Sort of. Democrats finally got the DOJ to move their fucking asses and actually throw down a congressional indictment on Steve Bannon for not appearing when he was given a subpoena by Congress, by the Jan 6 committee. The problem is Steve Bannon was like, go fuck yourself, I'm not going to do that, and just ignored it. And the DOJ dragged their feet for some fucking reason, which I'll get into. And eventually he was like, all right. There's a real indictment. I'll go on Monday. And then they were like, well, that's fine. We won't do the arraignment until Thursday. What? And then he goes out on TV and he's like, we're coming for you, Democrats. And Joe Biden told them to prosecute me on the tarmac when he talked to Merrick Garland. He said it. I'm like, one, totally made up. You have no proof of that whatsoever. He's making it up, but it's Steve Bannon. I mean, this guy's most famous for saying, just fill the thing with shit, right? Like that, just throw out as much bullshit as you can and, to just kind of take over the news. And so then he's not getting arraigned until tomorrow. Brad, thoughts? As a white man, how angry does this make you? It should. This guy represents all of you. That's how it works.
I wish that the institutions in this country would take seriously the cliff that we are balanced so precipitously over right now. I understand that they're going through normal procedures, essentially. Like they're essentially treating him like they would treat any other, subject of an investigation or subject of arraignment in these cases. But don't like make an example out of these fucking guys, because you're treating an abnormal situation as just business as usual. And I guess it's not abnormal to have someone balk at a congressional subpoena,
right?
But what they're investigating and what his involvement may have been in it is very abnormal and very dangerous. And you need to make it clear that this is a horrific event in this country's history. And is probably not going to be a singular event in this country's history. And we need to know as much information as we can about that day to ensure that the proper people get punished.
Right.
And that we can ward off this happening again, potentially. Stop treating this like it's normal, because it's not.
Yeah, it isn't. I don't understand, and I posted this to Twitter. You can find our Twitter account right there. I made this comment on Twitter, and I think it needs to be. I wanted to discuss this with you, as I said on there. Why they believe? Why the folks in the DOJ believe that they won't be destroyed by this coup as well? Do you think they're going to leave you in power? Do you think that they're going to just go, the FBI is, yeah. No. They're fine. They're cool. Is that what you think is going to happen? You think if these guys get in charge, they're not going to decimate? Like, has the last, like before Joe Biden came in, under the Trump administration, were you not paying attention for 4 years? They worked overtime to try to destroy what the DOJ stood for. They tried inserting themselves into the FBI, the CIA, everything to just manipulate it and make it into basically shit, right? So that people wouldn't believe it. You know, the intelligence agencies, they did that as well. Why you believe that these things are going to just like not affect you once these fucking assholes take power again, if they take power again, is beyond me. Like you said, they are using normal speed to deal with these procedures when this situation is so beyond that. Steve Bannon is involved.
It's already affected them. Like, DOJ was directly involved with Trump's efforts to steal the election.
Yeah.
Like, it's because he ended up appointing the wrong guy to the big chair is the only reason that we were saved from this potentially taking place.
Right.
And that he was so the answer to your question is the reason that they're not thinking about what the future would look like is because they're too busy still patting themselves in the back for preventing the most extreme outcome from happening.
Right.
Ignoring the fact that we got that close in the first place is the issue.
I don't understand. I don't understand this notion of, well, we'll just see. We'll see. I'm like, by the time you realize that this is a major issue, they will already be in power. They will already be throwing you motherfuckers out. They will already be decimating our institutions, even worse than they already are. Once they get in, that's it, right? Like, this idea of 2022 and 2024, if these fucking assholes get the Senate and the House, and then somehow Trump wiggles his way back in 2024, that's it. We're done. There's nothing else. Because they're not going to slow roll anything at that point. They're going to do full steam ahead and destroy every single thing that they didn't destroy on their way out the last time. You think he's going to be like, hey, I'm worried about a Saturday night massacre? Motherfucker, that's every weekend. That's every weekend. What does he care? Like, I get one shot at this. That's it. They'll destroy everything. Oh, you are a journalist? Cool. Let's figure out all the people in the FBI who are loyal to me. Let's let's get some laws passed so you motherfuckers can start being my Gestapo. Like, I know that sounds like ridiculous, but did you pay attention in the last 4 years? It's not that ridiculous. Everybody was like, Comey and Mueller and all these other guys were so process oriented that they couldn't see this fucking giant iceberg smashing into their faces. We have 4 years to try to fix the shit now. And these guys are still like, well, I don't know. Procedure says we got to move it. No, you don't. You learn anything in the last 4 years? You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. you want to indict
last-
Steve Bannon? If you want to indict Steve Bannon after they sent you that shit, like, hey, we want to process this for indictment, they could have had that shit out in 20 minutes. They could have had it out in 20 minutes. What's the fucking argument? Does the committee have the power to have congressional subpoenas? Yes. Did he violate the subpoena? Yes. Indictment. What the fuck are we waiting on? That was like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we waiting on? Every time that
And
you
you don't
do
have to
this,
look at the last.
you give the
4
space for
you
other
don't have to
people.
just look at the last 4 years. Like look at literally all of fucking human civilization history. There are a ton of coups performed through the levers of government in human history that we've seen over and over again.
Absolutely.
And in every situation, people that are in a position to stop it from happening realize too late that the train is barreling down the tracks.
Yep.
And
When
like
you
you said,
realize
like you saw on January 6th, with everything that we've learned and all the information that we already know, how close we came. How close we had in DOJ people that were ready to posit this theory forward. That thankfully, because there was one guy at the top that gave a shit about what he was doing, and because the career people below threatened to resign en masse if they ousted Rosen and elevated the guy that was going to let this shit happen. Like that's how close we came. Like we could have had a legitimate electoral crisis more than we had if you had the guy at DOJ being like, yeah, like this is fucked up. We should kick this over. We should decertify these results and kick it to the House.
Yep. Like
that literally almost happened.
And there's no mechanism to stop that from happening now.
No.
There's none. We have less guardrails now. Because now what they've done is they filled all of these states with these shitbirds who are Trump supporters. All of these, attorneys generals, all of these, the people who are handling the elections, they're all a bunch of Trump assholes in these specific states that are going to come up as, on sort of cuspy states, right? Georgia and so forth.
Well, and again, I stand by the point that I made. I do stand by the point that I made that there's a big difference between saying you're going to do it and then actually doing it when you're facing
in the moment.
Overturning the will of the voters in your state. Like I think it's not as easy as people think. People make it sound on a state level that it would be to throw that kind of shit into chaos. Yep. But again, like you have people. We've already seen the results. Like we've seen these convictions happening. We've seen, the information that we've gotten about what Trump said that day and to who, and what people were doing and what people were trying to get him to stop doing, and that he fucking admitted it himself.
Yeah, he did.
He admitted himself. Like he did an interview with Jonathan Karl, about I think a book that Jonathan Karl has coming out, and Jonathan Karl played a portion of the interview. And Trump's out here like fucking admitting it. Like Karl posited to him the quote that was said, where he told Pence, he's like, hey, the quote is like, you told Mike Pence, like, you can be a patriot or you can be a pussy. Yep. And he's like, is that accurate? And Trump was really like, yeah, I wouldn't dispute that. I wouldn't dispute that statement. Or that, like that characteristic. Like he's out here fucking admitting it. Like he's out here fucking admitting that, yeah, I totally tried to do this shit on January 6th. I absolutely tried it.
Yeah, because he knows that, and look, again, Trump is dumb. Like he is. I'm not going to be like, oh, Trump's a genius. No, he's not. Like he's not. He's not. Like, hello, have you paid attention the last couple of years? He's not. But the thing that Trump understands is where his brilliance actually exists is in manipulating people, right? And he knows that when the systems are in place, and people follow those systems, right? He saw this in real estate. People buy houses, buy buildings, they rent them out, whatever. Like there are linear ways that this shit happens. He is just like, nah, fuck rules. He's a sociopath, right? He's a sociopath. And because he's a sociopath, he doesn't believe in rules for him. He doesn't believe in rules. So he just steamrolls over everything. And we don't have a guardrail. We don't have systems in place to go, no, what the fuck are you doing? All we do is go, slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down, and then we get run over. Because we don't have the guardrails in place to say, you can't do that. And there's nobody in power who can push back on him and go, no. Right? Like today, the QAnon shaman, right? The guy with the fucking horns, like, the nipples and shit.
Mm-hmm.
That fucking guy. He got sentenced to 41 months. Yes. He got sentenced to 41 months in jail. 41 months in prison, right? Like for his involvement in the January 6th stuff. That's like 3.5 years, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't a violent protester, right? He wasn't like trying to kill the cops or like he was just a dumbass, right? And some people are like, well, I don't think that's a lot of time. You know, you should have hit him with more time. Agreed, right? I'd have hit everybody in that fucking place with a minimum of 10 years. You don't get to get out before Joe Biden is no longer president or anywhere close to that. No. Guess what? Fuck you. Like if you went in that building, you did some treasonous shit, you were on illegal ground, 10 years, done. The grandma who was in there like, oh, what's that? 10 years, grandma, you're fucking done. I don't care. Oh, I'm going to die in prison. That's on you. Hey, that's on you. 10 years, right? Especially for these major actors. And then people who are like really violent or the guys with like the cuffs and shit like that. Dude, life in prison. You're done. Like you're done. You were there to kill people. Like knock it off. We're done. Like we're not even having a conversation. But he's going to serve 41 months. Probably will serve half of that, right? For good behavior or some bullshit. But then again, it's federal. I think it's federal prison.
Yeah.
Which
federal pound you in the ass prison. As
so maybe not actually, because I think in federal prison you don't get out early. Like that's not how federal prison works. They're like,
no, they do not have early release for good.
There's no appeal. There's no appeal system, and there's no early release. So bye. Which is great, right? But to me, I would have gone much harder because this is not something to fuck around with. People go, 3.5 years in prison, but like we almost made it. That's a reason to try again, right? That's a reason to try again.
Well, and the issue
I
is,
start hitting these dudes 30, 40, 50 years, like those guys walking around with the cuffs. Oh, dude, are you kidding me? I'd be like, you get 2 consecutive 100-year sentences. You tried to kill people in Congress, my nigga. That's it. We're done. I don't like all of them either. But you can't fucking try to kill them. Knock it off. You're done. Make it scary to think about doing shit like this. Put a bullet in some of these people's asses. I'm serious. Why the fuck is it okay? Dude, we have executed people for less in this country. We absolutely, in the 80s, we killed Russian spies for less, for selling secrets. We executed them, right? You tried to murder and destroy a democracy. I'm sorry. Some of you need to hang for that shit. You do.
Well, and the problem is that when the country was designed, like the people that designed the framework could not envision a political landscape in which people didn't do the thing that their office required. Like they literally thought that Congress would always act independently of the president, essentially. Like that's what they count on. They couldn't envision a scenario where people would have more loyalty to their party than their office, if that makes sense. And the problem is that it's never really been tested to the level that it has until Trump came along, because the 2 closest things that we had that pushed on this system were the Civil War, which half the country, instead of just being belligerent in Congress, just pieced the fuck out.
Right.
And then you had Nixon, where Republicans, you started to see a little bit of the polarization where Republicans started to push back. But then once the evidence was overwhelming, they were just like, nah, this dude's got to go.
Right.
But now with Trump, they are so full on cult mode that the safeguards to protect us on a systemic level really don't exist.
No, they don't.
Because again, it relies on people doing the right thing, and frankly, working against their political interest, even though in the grand scheme of things, it would be in favor of their political interest, but they're working against their political interests in the short term because, and foregoing protecting the country. And again, this is how civilizations get destroyed. Like this is how governments fall. Yeah. And this is how you get autocracies, is because too much power is given to one guy. And then there's enough sentiment, behind it that it's, that he gets into power, and then we're fucked. So not to scare the shit out of everybody, but I mean, it's just, this is how this shit goes.
No, but it should. It should scare the shit out of you to some extent, because at a certain point, what the fuck are we doing? Right? Like you're either fighting for democracy or you're allowing an autocracy to take hold.
Well, I mean, it doesn't take long to get to this point. Like, just imagine, like, somehow Trump wins in 2024, and he gets both houses of Congress, and of course, there's going to be protesting in the streets and all the stuff, and then the police are going to scale it up, and all of a sudden, it's going to turn into, violent protests or riots and stuff like that. All of a sudden, we got to have martial law. Now the military is occupying the streets in the country.
Yep.
This is an exceptional situation. Oh, because it's so bad. Like, I'm the commander in chief. You have to give me these emergency powers because it's really bad in the country. Oh shit! Look, now I'm the emperor. It can really, if you have enough people to aid and abet what you want to do, you get to that point. It wouldn't have to be like Trump declaring himself emperor, but you could essentially have enough power moved into the presidency that he's a de facto emperor in a lot of ways. And that's just one way to get there. Sounds hyperbolic, but it really isn't.
It's really not hyperbolic considering what we saw in the last 4 years of his presidency. Also, if you think it ends, well, he'll be dead soon and all this other shit. Sure. You think he done just pass his shit to his kids? Yeah. Guess what? If you think that he doesn't just like make one of his kids his VP so that when he kicks the fucking bucket, they become president, of course. Why not?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he run with Ivanka? Why wouldn't he? At this point, what does it matter? He doesn't have to run with Pence. He doesn't have to run with some safe bullshit candidate that he doesn't agree with. He can run with anybody. He could run with Trump and Trump. Like, he could just run and be like, I don't need a VP. And those fuckers would still vote for him. There is no bottom to that barrel. I saw this once
on House of Cards, and it worked beautifully, where it was the double... it was the Kevin Spacey and Kevin Spacey's wife ticket, and they won.
Kevin Spacey's wife.
Now let me call the governor of Georgia to make sure that they can't have the election just like they did on the House of Cards, and I will easily win this election.
Yes, no problem. I'll hire a hacker to do it. Yeah, look, it's. But I'm serious. Like, people are like, oh, who's he going to pick for his VP? Pick anybody he wants. He picked one of his kids. Why not?
Yeah.
You think it's going to make a difference electorally for him? Like, he needed Pence on that ticket to win over evangelicals. He got him now. They literally think that this dude is a second coming.
Not just evangelicals, but he needed him for regular, grist of the mill Republicans. Like he needed that just like normal Republican dude. You're right. At this point, no, he doesn't need that anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
I'm telling you, I would be shocked. I would truly, truly be shocked if he runs that he doesn't pick someone as like crazy as his kids, or like Michael Flynn. Just crazy, dude. Like,
oh god,
why not Michael Flynn, dude?
Michael Flynn.
Why wouldn't it be, dude? Why wouldn't it be? He is like QAnon up to the fucking gills at this point. The dude's like, we need one God, one religion in this country. I'm like, yo, you need to be fucking put in a padded room. You fucking lunatic.
What if you picked Mike Lindell?
He's getting ready to do an interview with him, dude.
I know. No, I think it happened.
Oh, did it? Oh, I thought it was over Thanksgiving holiday.
Okay, that's the end of the free portion for this week's episode of Look Forward. Make sure you go to lookforwardshow.com/premium. Sign up for premium content. It's only $5 a month or $50 for the full year.